And now, Lifestyles Unlimited presents the Real Estate Investor Radio Show. Over the next hour, we unfold your map to financial freedom. You'll learn how to retire through investing in single-family and multifamily real estate. You'll learn how to create cash flow and build wealth so you can have the time and money to live the lifestyle you want.
Welcome to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. I'm Mike Harrison, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom. It's my privilege to be joining you today. I'm excited to bring this show to you. I've got a guest. This is content that you will only get from Lifestyles Unlimited, and you're just now tuning in. Lifestyles Unlimited is an educational and mentoring group. We've got members in all 50 states in the United States. We've been doing this for over 30 years, but we teach people how to essentially buy their life back by investing in cash flowing real estate. And we're unique in the fact that we have an incredible education program. We've got incredible networking events, and we have mentorship. Yes, we have mentors that can help you on your path along the way as you journey into real estate investing. So single-family mentors, if that's what you'd like to learn about, and also multifamily mentors. We've got them at every Lifestyles Unlimited office we have across the country at every level. And we encourage our investors and our members to meet with their mentors, to stay on track. The mentors are going to keep the pace, are going to keep them going in a positive direction. And I've got one of those mentors on the show today. She's one of my favorites, Nicole from the Dallas-Fort Worth office. Nicole, welcome to the show.
Hi, Mike. Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate you taking the time. And yes, I've been wanting to do this for some time now. Nicole, as we get going here, why don't you share a little background about yourself?
All right, sure. Well, I was in retail management for about 15 years, general manager for a Fortune 500 retailer. And needless to say, that retail schedule was quite demanding, and especially around all the times when I'd like to be able to spend time with my family around the holidays. That was go time. So, got a little worn out, not being able to spend that time with the people that I care about. But real estate investing is something I started doing in 2012, and I was actually able to walk away from my retail management career in 2019. Started buying houses in 2012. I was a big Dave Ramsey follower for a long time, and that really put me in the position to have the ability to start buying real estate. And I started buying cash flowing real estate. I retired with 9 single-family houses, started doing a little passive investing around the same time that I walked away from my former career, and it's been a heck of a ride, and I wouldn't change a thing. So.
I love it. I think people listening, there's a couple of things there. A lot of us started as Dave Ramsey folks, right? You got to get out of debt. I mean, I remember kind of waking up one day and we were essentially financing everything, right? New wood floors in the house. Oh, we'll just finance it. Go buy something from Best Buy, finance it. Next thing you know, you've got 15 or 20 little accounts. Dave will get you out of debt, but he really doesn't have a solution to essentially make you wealthy and buy your life back. And then the other thing, Nicole, you were able to do that with only 9 houses. I think that may be shocking someone that's new out there. Tell us about the houses and how that was able to retire you.
Sure. Well, the first house I bought, I actually bought as a primary residence. I did something called house hacking, though, so I did actually rent a room out to a double science major at the local college for a couple of years before I moved out of that house and turned it into a pure investment property. My second house, I actually made a loan against my 401k, which, Dave Ramsey has left the chat.
Dave Ramsey just rolled over. But anyway, yeah, keep going. This is great.
So I took that loan out, paid myself back over time. But by the time I paid myself back into my 401k, the equity I had in that house was actually worth more than that entire account. So, a lot of people, when they get out of college, they get that job, they buy a new car, they have a car payment. I didn't do that. I put that probably about roughly the same amount of money for to pay cash for a car into that single family house that was cash flowing about $350 a month at the time, which would have paid for a car payment for a lot of people at that time. So
Yeah.
Kept it going. About a year and a half later, I bought another house. I did actually do a little bit of short-term rental briefly there out of that one. That was a lot more work than what I really wanted to put in. So, I got involved with Lifestyles Unlimited right around that time, though. And that's where I really solidified my long-term buy and hold strategy, that cash flow, not the constant turnover that you have with short-term rental, but that just steady cash flow, very low maintenance, very little to do, and learned that model of fixing everything up front. So there again, I don't have much to do. I'm not getting a bunch of phone calls. I don't have a lot of things breaking. I'm just getting that check every month and continuing to build equity and enjoy that cash flow.
So what prompted you to become a single-family mentor?
Well, I tell you, I was a retired real estate professional for about 14 months. I had replaced my income through single-family real estate investing, and I was extremely bored.
Yes,
I needed
all this time. Now what do you do?
Time. Yeah. And so I had an opportunity to join the team actually back in 2020 in another role, and a way to give back and help others on their path to financial freedom. About a little over a year later, I was actually given an opportunity to join the mentoring team. So it's the most rewarding thing I've ever done with my time, to help others as they're getting started on their financial freedom path, and to see the reality of that take hold in their lives, and to see those results start to happen has just been absolutely the most rewarding thing I've ever had the pleasure of spending my time doing.
It is a great feeling, and I'll tell you, people ask me about me doing the radio show, and I'll tell you the one reason, and this is really selfish, but I do it for me. I do it because I'm able to stay focused. I'm able to stay involved. I am able to help people. That is a great feeling. When you get an email from somebody and you lead them in the right direction, and then they email you back 6 months later, a year later, and they tell you that, since that time we've got 3 houses, or we've done this, and it is an incredible feeling. Explain your role as a mentor. What is that exactly?
Yeah, well, for those Lifestyles Unlimited members that have decided that they want to take advantage of the mentoring that we offer, I'm there to help them setting their initial plan and strategy for their single-family investing journey. And then I'm there to walk through usually that first transaction. They take me along every step of the way. But once you go through it a few times, people tend to get a little bit more comfortable. And then really anything that comes up that, they're not quite sure how to handle or how to approach, when it's time to think about, hey, should I do a cash out refinance on that property? Should I do a sale? What's the next step for me? So, really at several points along the way, and, especially in the beginning, it can be really scary if you've never done this before. So people tend to really hold on tight, and really cling to their mentors in the beginning. And then they tend to get a little bit more independent as they go. But if something then comes up where, that they haven't experienced or not quite sure how to handle, I'm always there to help them walk through those things.
Nicole, what was huge for me, and personally, I joined Lifestyles in April of 2013, but I didn't buy a house until October of 2013. And I had the money, but what was really hard for me to overcome was, and I had owned a house already. I bought a really nice house. I mean, it had hardwood floors and crown molding, and I mean, it was a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. I mean, it was a fairly new house, and I realized I was doing everything wrong, and then joined Lifestyles, but I couldn't get over buying the dog. I mean, that you'd go look at this house, and you're like, oh my gosh. And so that was huge for me, but maybe explain why we buy the houses that are depressed, that need essentially some love and attention. Why does that work for us?
Yeah, I can definitely relate. And prior to joining Lifestyles, I mentioned I had bought some real estate. Before that, I had some single-family houses, but I was still terrified to buy the dog. But, the reason we do that is when that property is distressed, we're actually able to buy it at a discount. And we're able to add value to that property, that equity capture. So that enables you to make money on that property on the way in. It's an unrealized gain but it is, built in there where, and, let's say, if there was a little downturn in the real estate market, you're not going to lose your whole investment. It'll go back up over time. Of course, real estate always does, through every cycle we've been through. But, you're not going to, find yourself in a negative equity position on anything, if you're buying at this model. And so, that enables you to make that money right off the bat, hang on to it for a year, 2 years, 3, 5 years, whatever makes sense in your strategy and on that property. And then, because you've had that equity capture piece in there, when you're able to sell that property, you probably can buy 2 more, maybe 3. And I've certainly done that in along my path as well. So,
yeah, it snowballs. So 2 items there to discuss is, one, I had owned real estate, and then I joined Lifestyles because I was like, I got to figure out what I'm doing wrong. I got to do this right. There's something here. So the concept of equity capture was foreign to me. What is this? And so, you buy a distressed property, and I'm just going to pick some numbers out of the air here. You buy it for $150,000. You put $50,000 of rehab into it, and this is all financed through hard money, so I'm not going to get into that, but I'm just saying that for the listener. And then when you're done, it's worth $250,000, but you bought it for $150 and put $50 in it. So essentially $50,000 in wealth was created. And once you get the right GCs and contractors in these houses, the transition is amazing what they can do. So I learned to not be afraid of these beat up houses, and then I understood that concept of equity capture. So that was kind of 2 things that I had to do it. I dragged my feet to it, but it was a mentor that essentially pushed me into it and said, Mike, this is the perfect house. You've got to buy it. And so I did, trembling, shaking kind of thing. I bought it. So I want to get into some common fears. So that's one common fear, but I want to get into some common fears, and we're up against a break right now, Nicole, but some common fears that first-time investors, what they say to you, like I said, it was the beat-up house for me, understanding the concept, and then how you would maybe coach them through that, and then how you encourage people to get started, right? You just got to get the engine going, and then you can go on, because after I bought that first house, I went on and bought 10 more rather quickly. My name is Mike Harrison. We'll be right back after a short break.
Got questions? Call Lifestyles Unlimited at 855-497-4335. The Real Estate Investor Radio Show continues next.
So when I say be ready, number 1, to get ready, you better join up Lifestyles Unlimited and learn all these things we're talking about. You're out there piddling and, internet information and your buddy's information or your dad's information. It's not going to get you the results that we're talking about. You're going to have to be educated in what we're doing.
Learn from the people that are already where you want to be. Join us for the free online workshop at lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com.
Creating the lifestyle you've always wanted. You're hearing Lifestyles Unlimited's Real Estate Investor Radio Show.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Mike Harrison. If you'd like to learn more about Lifestyles Unlimited, learn more about real estate investing, learn how we make money 5 ways on a single-family property and 6 ways on a multifamily property, I invite you to join us at a free workshop, and you can find that free workshop at freeworkshoplivestream.com, freeworkshoplivestream.com. No commitments at all. So, Nicole, when we had left off, I was sharing a fear that I had. What are some other fears that maybe that new investors or first-time investors with us share with you?
Well, a lot of people can't really visualize what that finished product is going to look like. Some people struggle with that. So, they can take pictures, they can take videos, they can share those with me, and they can get my opinion, my view, based on my experience of, the potential that house may have. They can learn how to evaluate that property. That was one of the things I had no clue prior to joining Lifestyles Unlimited, how to evaluate a property that was not in, maybe livable condition or not the most updated condition, and what it would take to get it to that best product, best price, and then what the returns would be. So, that's one of the things that I love to do is I love to go over those evaluations with those members. Numbers, that part of it, the nerd in me really enjoys that part of it quite a bit. So, and then building the team that, is going to do the work, because I'm not going to do the work. Are you kidding me? I'm going to break a nail if I try to lay down flooring.
Yeah.
But really, that's the thing. And they don't, there may be here in North Texas foundation issues, and oh my goodness, that's the worst thing in the world. But no, it's not, because everything can be fixed. It's just a matter of estimating the cost to fix it and do those numbers work with what the end value of that home could be. So that's one of the big ones, though. If there's some major, foundation or a plumbing issue or those things, but those are the houses that we buy, because those are the houses that we use that hard money for. We make those improvements, and then it becomes a beautiful place for somebody to live.
Nicole, a house evaluation can be daunting for somebody. They may think, I have to have a construction background, or, and again, a lot of our people that come to us, our members, they did not have any real estate experience whatsoever prior to joining Lifestyles. The only thing they knew was the house that they may have bought that they live in. So let's dig deeper into home evaluation. When should somebody do a home evaluation? How long does it take? And what essentially are they looking for? Because these go quicker than people may believe they do.
Right. Well, home evaluation should happen as soon as you get an opportunity sent to you, whether it's from a Lifestyles realtor or from some other source of a property that's been located that, is in that distressed condition. There are some back of the napkin estimates you can do based on the size and age of the home that we talk through, just to find out and kind of stress test, does this property meet our criteria? Are we going to get, a certain level minimum return, based on those numbers? And then, for those members that are trying to really hone those evaluation skills, of course, Lifestyles has lots of tools for doing the evaluation, but we also have educational events. So, in fact, just this last Saturday, we had a single-family road trip here in North Texas, and that's an excellent opportunity. We walk a distressed property, and we talk through all the different elements of the scope of work for that property. And then we talk through numbers to help that member get comfortable with their ability to estimate what those repairs are going to be. And, I don't have a construction background. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That was not my background at all. But, I've been able to do some pretty close evaluations or estimates of what my rehab budget is going to be. You learn by going to those events, what a different level, a $30,000 rehab might look like compared to a $40,000 or $50,000 rehab.
Sure.
And it helps members get really comfortable with that. And then we also have, we have a team of vendors, in a lot of our markets. But once you have a relationship with a general contractor, then you can also have them come walk the property with you and get that estimate as well, based on what that individual property might need in order to get it back to that best product, best price that we teach.
I'll tell you how I walk through it. And again, I learned this from the best at Lifestyles Unlimited. But essentially, you're evaluating the math first. So you're on your laptop, your computer. All right, here's potential opportunity. And it's got a 15% cash-on-cash return, $25,000 equity capture. It's in this part of town, and it should rent for $1,800 a month, let's say. And I'm just pulling, again, numbers out of the air. But once I found that the math fit my strategy, okay, now we've got a fish on, right? So let's go see if this one's a keeper. And then so I would go to the property. If there's a realtor involved, you need access. You got to walk the property. And then it's $15 to $20 per square foot roughly, and correct me what numbers you might use here, but $15 to $20 per square foot for new paint, flooring, just to do your general lift, new doorknobs, new knobs for the kitchen, that sort of thing. So that's going to be kind of a basic rehab. And then you start looking at the big five, right? Foundation, air conditioning, electrical, plumbing, roof. New roof that, depending on the size of the house, it could be $8,000, $5,000. New air conditioner, there's $5,000 to $8,000 right there. New hot water heater, figure $1,500. And then, if there's foundation, you just kind of put in, what is that going to be? $5,000 to $8,000. Are we still in our metrics where this home makes sense? If it is, if the answer is yes, then I would get my GC in there. Is that kind of the thought you would do, Nicole, or What are you thinking?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so there's different strategies when you purchase a single-family property, and one strategy may be what we call a yield, where you've got cash flow at a certain level, and the other may just essentially be a deep value, right? Equity capture, where you're building that wealth, and then you're going to parlay that equity capture into more houses down the road. Maybe explain how those are different, and you might not have a significant amount of both in the same house. It's rare to have a really big equity capture with large cash flow. Explain why that is.
Well, typically, that larger equity capture property is going to be the more distressed property with the larger rehab. I'm seeing a lot of opportunities right now in Dallas-Fort Worth, but and then that that cash flow, it may only be about $200, which is pretty much the minimum of what we teach. You want to have at least a $200 monthly cash flow on any property, and so really those properties are typically I would guide a member who's just getting started. Maybe they don't have a whole lot to work with, to focus more on that equity capture, because that's going to be their wealth growth over time. For that member who maybe is getting really close to retirement and they really need to have the cash flow portion, then I tell them to focus more on the cash flow. And, still see a lot of opportunities out there, $300, $400, $500 a month cash flow on that property.
So, Nicole, how many folks are you seeing out of town that are investing in Texas? Do you get calls from people out of state?
I do. I've really talked to members across the country. A couple of weeks ago, talked to a gentleman from the Portland, Oregon area. Talked to him a couple of times. I've talked to some people in Colorado that are looking to invest here in North Texas. And, really, I've talked to members across the country. There's probably, I probably talked to members in about 50% of the states in this nation. And then I also have members here locally that are also buying across state lines in Georgia and Tennessee. I've got another member that I have mentored since he first got started, and he's purchased 4 properties in a very short period of time. He's been a member for, maybe a year and a half now at this point, but he purchased 4 houses. 2 of them were in Texas. 1 of them was in Tennessee, and 1 of them was in Georgia. So, he's never been to the Tennessee or the Georgia property. I actually think he may have been to his just 2 of his properties. I know one of them is in DFW, and he again purchased in the Houston area as well. But managing from afar, and the thing is if you're going to manage from afar, you really just need a phone anyway, no matter where the property is. If there is something that needs to be fixed on a property, I'm not going to go to that property and fix it myself anyway. I'm going to call somebody. So, but again, fix those properties up front, and that really minimizes your need to have any phone calls at all from the tenant. But
yeah, that's another thing we do different. We fix everything, so there shouldn't be any issues. And if there are, again, you just pick up a phone. You've got a team. We've got investors all over the country. I'm part of a couple of groups. Occasionally I might say, hey, who's got a painter that works in north of Dallas? And 6 people would say, oh, I use this guy or this guy or this guy. So the networking piece is beautiful. And then I want the listener to understand, just because you live out of state doesn't automatically mean management company, okay? You can hire a management company, but we've got members that are managing their own properties out of state. Again, it's what you can do with a pen or what did Obama say? I've got a pen and I've got a phone. He should have been a real estate investor, right? Because that's really, that's all you need. So Nicole, some advice for people that are on the sidelines for whatever reason. And I get people that are like, I'm going to wait for the market to change or what have you, and then I'm going to invest, and it's never the right time. So what would you say to folks out there that are sitting on the sidelines, they realize their job is just grinding them or it's eating them up with hours like yours was, or the corporate atmosphere has been poisoned like mine was when I was in corporate America. For whatever reason, what would you say to somebody that's just sitting out there listening to us, knowing they want to do this, but they're not, they haven't taken action yet?
I would say, how's your 401k doing, and how much control over it do you have? How much control do you have over that 401k?
None.
And compared to real estate, where we do have control, we do have market-based evaluation tools that tell us what that property is going to be worth once it's fixed up. We have that equity capture built into it on the way, and we have an asset that pays us every single month.
Yes.
Not only do we get cash flow, you're going to get principal pay down. You're going to have tax advantages that you might be able to write off against your income. Is your 401k doing that for you?
No.
And
no, it's not.
Mine wasn't. So,
well, was it 2 weeks ago? Someone created some picture on artificial intelligence on AI. They generated a fake photo of like a fire at the Pentagon, and within seconds, the market dropped 200 or 300 points. You got control over that? I mean, is that something you really want to be in? I'd almost rather be in Vegas betting, playing roulette. It's the same thing. Absolute no control. So, yeah, Nicole, those are all great reasons. So what's next for you? I mean, you took on the mentorship. Obviously, you're still investing. What are you looking for next 3 to 5 years?
Well, I'm still continuing to buy some single-family properties. My husband and I are actually also aspiring lead investors, so we're looking to do a multifamily acquisition with some passive partners to generate some additional wealth and cash flow for us and for our investors. And really, we've learned to enjoy the lifestyle along the way too. We do quite a bit of traveling. It's wonderful to have the freedom to be able to do that. One of the things that we love to do, and we're pretty much always planning that next vacation.
Fantastic. Nicole, I really thank you for sharing your time today. The rest of you out there, I want you to understand your tomorrow will be decided by your actions today. It's not the money, it's the lifestyle. Make it a great day.
The information and opinions you hear on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show are those of the host, guests, and callers. The Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.